And we are live. Expedition to Castle Ravenloft, episode 14. And we have played, 14 episodes in just under a year. That happens to be our average, is nearly once a month.
At least it's consistent?
Yes. Excellent. So we've already done our recap. We did it offline. Hopefully people are just coming off the previous episode. Or will remember, because it was actually more memorable than our usual episodes because we actually had stuff happen, plot develop. It's up to a low simmer.
We didn't roll very many dice, but stuff still happened.
Yes. So, you guys are just on the other side of the bridge that crosses the Sare Falls, and you just witnessed from a long way away some heavy shit going down from the way of the castle. Flashes of light in the sky, rolling peals of thunder, sharp reports, and maybe even the shouts of distant voices carrying over the mountain and through the valley up towards you. And the whole thing had a rather off-putting effect on the Vistani that you were caught up with, that you were following across the river. And I think the general consensus was that you're all going to turn back now. You had been tracking the demon aspect, and whatever he's doing, you seem to want no part of. So yeah. I guess the question is that still the plan? And if so, what's the new plan?
I think our plan was to go back with the guys that we followed, because we talked to them and they were like, "Oh, are you here to help?" But things are, and if they were out to get us, they clearly gave no indication whatsoever. So we were going to go back with them to meet up with the group that went up Plasaga Hill and see if we could find out what happened up on the hill, what they found up there. But yeah, we want nothing to do with whatever's going down at the castle. We don't even want to get any closer to see what is going down at the castle.
Alright. Anybody else have anything to add on that?
I'm wondering where we're walking towards.
If you're going to Plasaga Hill, you're going to cut back across the...
Oh, I know our direction geographically. I'm just wondering what our stated goal is.
I think, all right, here's what I have in mind, and you guys can chime in to see if this sounds okay. We go back with the group from Plasaga Hill. We try to get any information that we can out of them. If that doesn't pan out, at least in terms of staying with the Vistani, then we go back to town and follow up the lead there with the guy named, what was it, Pablo?
Pablo.
Yeah. And then we follow up there. So to some extent, it'll depend on if we get anything from the guys up Plasaga Hill. But even if we do, I think we need to follow up with the guy in town.
I think that would be a good idea. We can interrogate him with magic, not in the
town crawl anyway. So we probably need to stop in and make sure everything's okay. We might want to stop by what's her name?
Iliana's or Irina?
Yes, and see if there's any updates on what's going on there too.
Irina.
We have been gone for a while.
So things might have been happening in our absence. They might not have, but I think it's a good idea to keep well informed. Because as we talked about last time, I think we need to get independent of everybody that we're relying on out here, including the Vistani. Because right now we're relying on everybody else for our information.
I have a question. Do we know what that paladin was going to do while we were gone? Was she just guarding the Sorry, I don't know what her name was or her title.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about her.
Ashra? Or...
We can't hear you.
me? Oh,
No, me. I had my mute on.
Ashlyn
Her name was
11.
Ashlyn. Yes, you got it. And she was mourning her. She needed time to mourn her dead adventuring party,
okay.
whom you killed again when you blew up the church.
Blowing up. Actually, I don't remember if blowing up the church was an accident or not. So I can't reflexively defend it if I can't remember.
Sort of an accident. So I guess
I'm not
yes.
pointing any fingers.
So we have to decide whether we want to go back to the Vistani directly and ask them there. So,
Well, technically, Madame Ava does owe us some answers, so it couldn't hurt to check in and maybe finally officially wear out our welcome.
Yeah,
And maybe get that last bit of information that we do desperately need. So,
True.
I think you're totally right, because we need something, and it's not like they're our best friends right now anyway. So let's push it and see what we can get, because we need something to go on.
Yeah, obviously, try not to murder the Vistani.
Yeah, let's not
keep
get
genocide down to a minimum, but I know that's really reining myself in, but
my only thing is that we have to be prepared to answer the question: did you kill the hag?
And then once we answer that, we need to be prepared to cut our way free if we have to. Because I don't think she's going to like the answer to that one if we tell the truth. But you're right. We need to be prepared for it.
So, sounds like you're going to skip trying to catch up with the group from the Saga Hill, which is good because I'm thinking that with the hours it took you to get to where you are, they're already going to be done with their portion of whatever they're looking for and back to Madame Ava before you could catch up to them on the road. So, sounds like you're going to go back to the Vistani camp, see what she knows, and what's going on. So,
we'll escort that group that we were with.
absolutely. So you kind of left in the middle of the night. You hadn't really slept. You went a couple of hours to the Saga Hill, split from there, went overland instead of following the road because you were following the path and the previous Vistani and the split Vistani group. So you probably caught up over the bridge sometime around morning. So I'm going to say it's probably afternoon by the time you get back to the Vistani camp, which is around the time that she said that she would have answers for you if she was going to have any answers for you at all. So,
if nothing else, walking in with other Vistani will make us look better. So, I hope.
hopefully.
well, you get into the camp all right. Nothing seems amiss, and when you get into camp, everything seems to be everybody going about their business as normal. The people that you traveled with wave and go off to their respective areas. One of them goes to Madame Ava's trailer to give his report.
Let's follow around right behind him. I mean,
All right, so you're just gonna walk in with him?
I think we should, because we were there. We can corroborate everything, and that's the excuse we can use to talk to Madame Ava, who otherwise might be avoiding us
Or blow us off, or yeah.
Yeah, because that's the sense I got from the night before, is that she was kind of blowing us off, and if we can find an excuse to nail our feet to the floor and ask our questions, I think this is a good one.
All right. So you follow the young man in. Let's call him Jacob, just because it's the first name that came to my mind. And she turns around to watch him come in, and then, before the door closes, a hand catches the door and opens up, and then you guys walk in. The look she gives you guys is like pure murder. It's like, she doesn't say anything, but her eyes are like, what the are you doing in here behind this guy? And he looks a little bit surprised that you're coming in behind him, but all he knows about you guys is that, hey, you're heroes of the valley, and you came and caught up with them just when things got really scary, and he was happy for you to be with him up to that point. So he just kind of shrugs it off as, well, what you gonna do? And starts telling her about how everybody went out to investigate the threat that she was talking about, and they found this big wide trail, like some giant had been wandering through the woods instead of following the road, just smashing stuff down without really a care for what was in their way. And he talks about how after you caught up with them, as you guys crossed the bridge, the sounds of the terrific battle, which she must have heard herself before turning around and coming back to report, because nothing good would have come from physically approaching whatever was causing that noise. And she listens intently, and she doesn't seem to be giving away any expression. And when he's done, he's like, "Thank you, Jacob. You may go now." And he just stands there for a moment as if this isn't the usual way in which she dismisses him, and he's kind of puzzled about why he's being treated that way, and then he realizes that you're still standing right behind him. And he's like, "Oh," and he just kind of creeps out like, "I don't want to be here for whatever happens next."
I pat him on the back as he goes past.
Thanks for your service.
All right. Madame Ava leans back, and she doesn't say much of anything. She just looks at you as if she's waiting. And you stare at her, and she stares at you.
I just want to see how long
Eventually-
before it gets really uncomfortable. I nudge Heinrich.
So,
And by nudge, I mean shove Heinrich to the front.
so you said that you would have some information for us in the afternoon. It is the afternoon. We've just returned on a scouting mission with your man Jacob. Thought maybe you would have that information for us now.
Her mouth sours for a moment, but then she asks, "Do you know what it is that was summoned on the hill that night?"
Some sort of
Demon creature?
Yes, it was the aspect of a demon.
You mentioned cultists. I don't know who they are, but I'm aware of some lore that happened to be in a very rare book that disappeared from this valley some time ago. And in it, it described some planes of existence that had only been uncorroborated, let's put it that way. And it could be that this demon that you saw matches the description of one of the demons in that book.
Well, he was from the Verdant Plain, so at least it appeared that way to me.
And her eyes widen for a moment. How do you know that name?
Because I've hunted many demons. Where I come from, I belong to an order of demon hunters. And I was able to recognize his verdant green robes and able to identify him as originating from the Verdant Plain.
She scoffs for a moment. "By clothing alone," she says. And she shrugs. Well, I have no idea who summoned that creature, but from the sound of the events last night, I should think that someone pointed him towards the master of the castle.
During this time while she's saying all this, I'm paying a keen mind to like her inflections and body language. I'm seeing if she's lying to us, basically, and I'm curious how I would go about doing so mechanically. Is she?
This would definitely be a skill check, like a
Okay.
D&D.
Okay.
So I've got a difficulty in mind. It's not even an opposed thing. I'm just running off the stock difficulties that they have.
Okay.
And you need to make a check. It's your Inquisitor background, I assume.
Yeah. What skill do you feel would be appropriate?
Well, it's the background plus your level,
your level.
plus, I would say wisdom, because you're trying to intuit.
Okay.
Or
Background's
intelligence, you're trying to use reason to catch her in a lie. One way or the other.
I think I'm subtly looking for these things, so I'm gonna play it off of that instead of
Okay.
yeah.
So that would be, sounds like intelligence to me.
I was thinking more wisdom, more like looking for like subtle changes, like perception and like how
Oh.
she's like the classic,
All right.
I guess, D&D is
Sure.
perception.
Yeah. I like to be flexible on the ability scores, but use what you like.
19.
19. You can't tell. She's got her poker face on so far as you're concerned. All right. So basically, the big info dump from her is that at this stage, she's not telling you anything that you don't already know.
Well, is it a good thing that they sent the demon at the head of the castle? Because generally it's not, but I don't know.
She considers your question for a moment, and then she nods and says, "It is not common knowledge. There are many rumors about the castle and its master. But I happen to know, having met him face to face, that he is not what he seems to be. He's not human. And he has questionable sanity and long life. And his goals are not necessarily good for the inhabitants of this valley."
Huh.
At least so far as I've been able to divine them. Who can say? If he truly is mad, his goals may be nothing that one can reason or intuit.
Okay.
But I have to be very careful, because nothing in this valley happens without his permission. And if I were to act openly against him, then he would surely put an end to me and mine.
Huh.
And it would not surprise me that perhaps he acted against the town of Barovia, and that is why we've had our recent problems with our undead.
So you said it's very dangerous to go against him. Do you know of anybody that would have the gall and bravery to summon a demon to go against him? I mean, that's some pretty obviously large things happening with summoning a demon, and if they're sending him in at him, then they must be pretty strong, and B, probably not too worried about him coming back at them. Anybody possible that you can think of that might fit that description?
Well, you described a cult, and I can tell you from my own dabblings that what may be beyond one person can be achieved with many. So all they need is the right knowledge and enough bodies performing the correct ritual to build up the magical oomph that they need to excuse me, to summon one such as he. But as for who would have the gall to do so, I can think of no one alive who would be willing to put themselves in that position.
What about dead people? Since here around Barovia, the dead seem rather restless, and I wouldn't leave them out of the conversation.
She considers for another moment. No. Anybody who has any sort of power around here is at least aware that the master is the master of the valley, even if they don't know much about him or his aims. There's a certain amount of pushback whenever you try to take matters into your own hands.
I have a question for Madame Ava. Do you know of any other masters beyond the valley who might wish to challenge his domain?
Although my people often leave the valley for trade, they only do so by the master's will, and you may leave out a road or a trail, but you'll never arrive in the same place twice. I can't speak to this geography beyond this valley because it always is different to us. And none of the townsfolk seems to be even aware that there's nothing beyond the valley that they can reach. They speak of places long gone, as though they'd been there last week, or they'd known someone who had traveled there within their lifetime. Surely this is something that you've noticed, or would if you were around a little bit longer. Anyway, she says, as it seems that you have no other questions.
No, I think you've provided us with all that you can. Thank you for your assistance.
Our business is done. And she says that, it sounds like there's a finality to it, almost as if she's finishing a spell or a ritual on its own. Done.
Now, I assume I can't interpret that as no more favors owed, right?
Hey man, she said it's done.
Can I just instantly just be like, gotcha, no more favors? Because I'm not really going to do that, but I'm just curious if I could.
Oh, because you owe her favors?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
she's only referring to this particular transaction.
Alright.
At this point, she's flush with everybody except you, who still owe her.
Okay. I was just hoping to catch her on a technicality.
It was a verbal contract. I've got witnesses. No.
But as she expects you to leave, it being a dismissal, she does ask Kenthis to remain behind for a moment as everybody else goes.
You had to remind him about that.
Yeah. That's alright. I'd rather just get it over with.
There you go. Alright, I'm fine with leaving.
Alright, everybody else,
I'm
you can leave
fine with
Kenthis
leaving
alone?
too.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
I'll hang around outside,
Yeah, near the door, very close to it.
Alright.
but yeah, I'm gonna throw you under the bus. Why not?
Alright, sounds good.
Alright. So, her stare kind of pins you to where you stand, like you're a butterfly in a collection, as your friends file out one by one. Never liked that guy anyway. Yeah, he always fumbles or rolls ones or get somebody new in. And once the door is closed, you hear a clicking of a latch that you don't remember hearing before, as the doors have opened and closed in the past.
Sneaky.
You and I, she says, we still have some unfinished business. And you notice now that she's handling that carving that you had given her.
I'm gonna just smile and be like, all right, let's get to it. I'm gonna play the friendly game. Kill her with kindness. What do you ask of me? That's my response.
Your friends ask a lot of questions, a lot of dangerous questions, that I would rather they not be asking. I think it would be best if they did not return to this place. I cannot risk being associated with them if they're going to continue on this path. I would consider it a favor if you convince them never to return here.
I suspect that my friends will not be heartbroken to hear of your requested favor, but I do ask if I might remain as a courted neutral emissary if we ever need to be in contact with you again. Desperate times.
My people are often in town. If you need to send a message to me, you can do it through them. And if anything requires more, shall we say, delicacy, you only need seal the missive, and they will deliver it to me untouched. You can trust them.
All right. I appreciate your forthrightness, and I will tell my friends, and we'll be on our way.
All right.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Clicking on...
She didn't say anything about penalties if I fail, I guess. So whatever.
No whammies.
So as you turn to go, you hear a cracking noise as, with one hand, she has busted the carving that you had made.
That's a bit rude. I might have wanted that back. All right.
She sealed the deal, man.
I guess it was.
You're now quits with her. You do this thing, and you don't owe her.
All right. I'll do it.
All right. The door unlatches, and it opens just a slight bit before you reach it.
All right.
And then, once you're out the door, you hear it click again behind you, as though self-locking.
All right. Well, guys, I've got news for you. We will never be able to return to this place, and sorry.
It's okay. She didn't
My
really
bad,
ever give us
I guess.
any good information, anyways.
I'm kind of okay with it myself.
Yeah,
But,
I think we kind of exhausted anything we could have gotten from here.
All right, so on to the town it is, I suppose.
Yeah, back to Barovia.
All right. So I'm going to take you the rest.
As soon as we get to Barovia, we probably need some rest, because I don't think any of us have really slept in more than a day, and we've
That's
done a lot
right.
of traveling.
And you're not going to get into Barovia until almost nighttime anyway.
Yeah.
So when you get to Barovia, and it's been a while, so forgive me if I don't remember, were you staying at the Blood and Vine, or did you secure room and board with Irina?
We secured it with
think
Irina.
yeah.
We gotten jobs basically as kind of being her representatives in the valley, and also her bodyguards. Even though we're not doing that,
we haven't.
We're doing a stellar job of that.
it was part of our employment that we go out into the valley, but we're also her
Right over
bodyguards.
there.
Are we getting a wage?
But yeah, she'd given us lodging at her place.
All right. So you get into town, and you've been gone for a couple of days now. So not like it's not like you went out for a stroll and you came back. You've been gone. I'm gonna say it's probably 2-3 days now that you've been gone.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds all right.
All right. The town has been really busy since you guys have been gone. They seem to have people patrolling the streets now after sundown.
How novel.
They're the central portion of town is well lit, whereas the outer portions are generally all dim, with the exception of a couple of houses. A lot of places, particularly ones that do not have lights in them, seem to be boarded up or nailed shut. And some of the alleys seem to be barricaded, as if to designate safe and unsafe areas. And you smell this stench that hangs in the air. There's no smoke now, but it smells like someone has been burning bodies, and that the smoke has been rolling through town while that process is ongoing.
And of course we know what the smell of burning bodies would be like.
Of course.
That's just something we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly so.
We
So
did burn down a church.
yeah, that didn't have a few bodies in it. Then you arrive at Arena's place, and there are lights there, and you bang on the door, and the I don't want to call him butler, the manservant opens the door, looking down his nose as he did before, with great disdain towards you.
I
Obviously,
dealt with my problem.
That may be, but the moment he sees you, he sniffs something, as if to cover up any odors that might be wafting through the door. Well, whether that was in reaction to you or to the odor of burning bodies that seems to permeate the town, it's because of you. He doesn't dissemble in the least. And he's kind of like, oh, you, and to the group as a whole, and just closes the door again.
Knock again really loudly.
He opens the door, sees that it's still you.
Put my foot in really quickly.
Should we just yell for Irina?
Rita, we come for you.
I'm not sure that would go.
We're here to protect you.
We're here to protect you.
He looks down at your armored boot in the door and sighs loudly and says, "Come in." And
I very pointedly do not wipe off my boots before I step inside.
You find a puddle of mud and like slosh around in it before you enter.
I go roll around like a dog. Get inside and shake.
I play this guy the same way for both groups, and you both have the same reaction. It's fantastic. So he lets you in, and he says, "I suppose you're here for the rooms that the mistress commanded that we prepare for you, in case you ever returned."
And of course to protect the mistress, sir. That is our stated contractual obligations. Did we sign
Well,
a
I'm
contract?
afraid she's not available to entertain this evening. I will just show you to your rooms.
Oh, we
if
don't
you
need
should
to-
need anything,
I mean, we
don't
could just
call.
So just like help ourselves, like we live here.
Wait a
And
minute.
That's
the look
good.
he gives you is pure venom.
We're
Wait,
the kitchen. We're very hungry.
I would like to make a diplomacy check on this guy because Or maybe I don't have to, but I do want to ask him where Irina is.
Are you going to be the good cop to all our bad cops?
Yeah, I'd like to. Because he could be covering up her disappearance if that suitor came back.
If you must know, she's organized a local militia, and she's often out and about, supervising their activities. She will return when she's ready.
Oh, alright.
Oh, so it's just you and us, buddy.
So what do you like to do for fun?
I take him by the shoulder and start guiding him towards where I think the kitchen and pantry are. We're gonna have a little talk. Let's go get a snack, shall we?
He tries to protest because dinner, as he says it, was a long time ago. It's much too late to put out anything for.
I have a very
Yes.
firm grip on his shoulder. No, but that's okay. You don't need to trouble yourself. Just show us where everything is. And we'll
So
help
he leads you
ourselves.
through the kitchen to the larder.
This
So
poor
what do you
put-upon
guys
butler.
feel like tonight?
So you guys can get food to eat, and you can get to bed. It is too much to ask that he will arrange for a bath. But no
Are you
matter
sure?
what, you wish that you take one.
Have we actually asked, or are we just assuming it's too much to ask?
He's not going out of his way.
Awesome.
That's a lot of work.
Alright.
But we can drop some really subtle hints going, like talking about how we all smell and going, man, I hope I don't have to wash those sheets in the morning because, man, they're going to be rank.
Can I drop some subtle hints that I want like a foot massage?
You guys are monsters. Even I have my limit.
I just want to sleep.
Where are the beds? I have a sandwich. I'm ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess get something nice and greasy with a lot of mustard on it.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I had a corn chip. So, turns out a little torment is good for the soul. Good night's sleep. You're exhausted. Nobody comes to knock on your doors to wake you up. You get up well after sunrise, probably around 8 o'clock-ish, which for farmers is probably around mid-morning. Not that anybody's doing much farming these days. When you get up, if you search for Irina, you are informed that she's asleep. She's been up to late in the hours last night in order to organize the militia and help keep the streets safe. If you're looking for something to do, they can always use more bodies cleaning up the bodies, kind of lumping you in with all the dead.
So
Well, we hate to take away from some of your job security, buddy.
What time does the Lady Arena normally rise?
And he wrinkles his nose for a moment and he says, if she's not up before lunch, I arranged for her to be woken.
Alright, I have a question. Those houses that are boarded up, is that to keep the dead inside?
Yes, one assumes.
Alright. You guys want to clean up the streets?
The mean streets of Barovia.
Yeah.
Good cop, murder cop, bad cop, worst cop. On patrol. I request that he arranges a meeting for us and the Lady Arena whenever she wakes.
A dinner date.
Yeah, I
A
think
lunch
that's a good
date.
plan. We'll be
Yeah.
back for dinner.
Yes.
I shall let her know.
You do that. And then when they begin to walk up, I grab him by the shirt collar and say, "I was really tired last night. If you close the door or slam it in my face again, I'll kill you in your sleep." And then I leave.
I see Heinrich is a murderous cop now. I guess I'll be worse cop this time.
It's only
Bad cop.
He was really sleepy and he was a little hangry, you know.
All right. So you notice that the patrol activity doesn't stop just because the sun is up, but now you have active groups opening up one at a time buildings that had been boarded or nailed up and going in with pickaxes, shovels, and whatever other improvised weapons that they have. There's a couple people there with improvised pikes that have cross pieces on them. And you actually kind of like watch from a door, and it's a pretty neat operation. They go into small groups, and one person will pin a zombie to the wall, and the other guys will close in and bang its head up until it stops twitching. And then another team comes in afterwards once the building's been cleared and hauls out the body and puts it in a cart to take out to be burnt.
Don't know why they just don't burn down the house. It'd be much easier.
Spread things out.
Bring out your undead. I know that ethically you're not supposed to quote Monty Python at the table anymore, but I couldn't help it.
It is rather spot on, isn't it?
So shall we see who needs help, or if anybody needs help? Or
as it happens, as you're watching a group, you hear a scream come from inside the next house that they go into.
Oh. Well.
Let's go help.
Yeah, here we go.
All right.
Weapons ready.
So you get in there, and you see that they've got a zombie pinned to the wall, but the skin on it is moving as though there's something or things writhing underneath the skin. And that's when you notice that there's already maybe a half a dozen long white maggots about the size of a small dog crawling around on the floor, and one of them had burrowed into a guy's leg at the ankle and is worming its way in. No pun intended.
Are they killing it, or do we need to kill it?
Well, the guy who's being assaulted is the one that's pinning the zombie to the wall, and everybody else is busy fighting off another zombie on the side, and they're at the same time they're kind of like half fighting the zombie and half stomping on these things, trying to keep them from getting too close.
All right. Well, should we roll initiative, or can I just say I beat its head in with my staff? Are we?
I think for your sake, we should just say that you beat its head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can succeed at this one thing.
I'm gonna stop maggots.
I can kill something that's so far gone.
In this case, you all come in and you have initiative. It's kind of like you're surprising them because they're maggots. What do they know?
So I'll roll an attack roll, or is it weak enough that we don't care?
I'm looking at it because it's been a while since I wrote this thing up. Give me just a moment.
All right.
Okay, while you look that up, I'll be right back.
All right. I'm gonna put the Walking Dead theme song in my headphones.
All right. So. All right. Yeah, these things were nasty. Okay, so no, you could just go around and stomp on them. That's not a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, these things were dead easy to kill, and they were only really a threat if they surprise you, which in this case they didn't.
Oh.
A dire maggot. Yeah.
Ew. All right.
Yeah. I built them to go along with the necromantic infection, and basically, you touch the corpse and it erupts with maggots, and they get an immediate melee attack. That's the only attack that they actually make. But you guys had no reason to be handling corpses till now, and I don't really feel like using it as a monster. So, color.
There we go.
A new threat emerges. And just like that, it's stumped out.
So is the guy with the maggot leg okay, or they need help with that?
No, he's not okay.
Should we cut his leg off?
He is screaming as this thing is eating its way up the inside of his leg, and eventually the zombie comes free, tearing the pike with it, and starts closing in on him. And because you guys are so busy stomping out all these maggots that are all over the floor, he actually gets bit by the zombie.
Gotta put him down.
Yep.
Gotta old yeller him.
Well, they don't. It only happens if he dies, right? Or is he dead?
He's not dead yet, but he's wounded.
All right.
He's definitely going to die pretty quickly if somebody doesn't do something about that zombie munching on him.
All right. I'll hit it with my staff.
Boom. Okay, Kenthis kills something. Woo!
I want to believe that he's taking care of this and cleaning up this room, and we're just standing in the doorway like, oh, gross, maggots. No. No.
Demons, fine. Maggots, no.
I mean, that is basically the gist of our conversation is, listen, I can deal with undead and gross stuff, but maggots? Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh, come on. You don't want to track this stuff into Chief's house?
So, is part of this maggot still inside this dude's leg? Or outside?
It's all in there now.
This is his thigh or his calf or what?
Well, it burrowed into his calf.
All right.
But it isn't into his torso yet?
Don't know. You want to examine him medically?
I don't want to rip it out.
I am a trained medic. I could check this out. I'm going to be really skeeved out, though.
All right. Heinrich will check. I'll stand overhead with my sword held above it.
Please do.
Stop!
Be very careful what you say, Heinrich.
I was joking when I first said it, but maybe we should just cut his leg off if it's too far gone.
I can apply a real quick tourniquet, and then we can do that, so that way he doesn't bleed out.
All right. I mean, let's make sure that that's necessary.
Do a tourniquet and cut off his leg, but I mean, what fun is that?
I think you're asking the wrong group, man.
We want him to live. He's not actively working against us, so we kind of want him to live. Otherwise, we just let him figure it out, you know?
I suppose that's fair. He hasn't picked this over, so, you know.
I tear a piece or several pieces off of his like pants or cloak or whatever he's got, and I begin like tying them tightly around his leg to apply pressure and a tourniquet to his whatever leg's being burrowed into.
Wait, are we sure that we need to cut this off? Can we get like a formal diagnosis before we just go
Sure.
chopping?
I'll do a spot inspection. I'll feel around to see if I can see the maggot. You want me to roll for that?
So Ember has to hold this guy down because Kenthis is squeamish, and Heinrich is standing ready to kill whatever happens going on here. And as you apply the tourniquet, you feel the flesh in the thigh move underneath your hand, as though there's something underneath there. And the guy's just screaming and writhing around, and if it wasn't for Ember's putting his weight down on him, he wouldn't be still enough for you to apply that tourniquet. But it definitely hasn't gotten up past the thigh yet.
It hasn't or has?
Has not.
Has not? Just simply since I'm now dealing with his leg, about how far into his thigh am I able to feel that this burrowing maggot is into his leg.
It's probably about 4 inches below your tourniquet right now.
4 inches below.
Oh, I
let me-
have a scalpel if you want one. I actually
give it,
like, you can
give
use
it to
the
me.
wood-carving
Give it to
knife.
me. Give me your scalpel.
Yeah. Do you want it for real?
Yeah, give it
All
to
right.
me.
I'll give him my magic wood carving knife. It'll work on people, right? It's the same
People
general
like wood,
principle.
yes.
Yes.
I with the tourniquet applied so he doesn't bleed out, I begin opening his leg so I can try to rip out this maggot. And I'm wearing mailed gauntlets, so I'm not like super. I don't want it burrowing into my hands, but
That is actually a
incredibly
very
dexterous.
sensible precaution.
I'm
But
not
it
as
is going
dexterous
to
as I normally
impose
would.
it is going to impose a penalty on your check.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So, which background are you using for medical again? I think it was
I am a
Inquisitor
trained
because
medic.
of torture.
I'm a trained medic as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Granted, it's like my worst background, but let's do it.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. That's much better. Okay, I got a 25. Wait, is that right? Yes, a 25.
All right. So 25 is going to be enough. Heinrich holds out his gauntleted hand, and Kenthis just grabs the blade, goes smacks that handle right in there. Heinrich does a little flourish and then starts cutting in very precisely. Blood starts oozing out because he's got the tourniquet on, so it's not really like gushing. And he sees this white writhing thing that all of a sudden starts coming out towards the light because there's an opening now, and it's not getting past the tourniquet. So this thing just kind of lunges out at you, and it hits the mail on your hand, and now you know that's a sensible precaution. What do you do?
Squish it. Away from the open wound.
So, so you're like, ooh, what a tiny head, and you go squish, squish, squish.
Yes.
All right, now you managed to extract the maggot without an issue. It leaves a hole behind it that the blood just starts sinking into instead of bleeding out, and the guy passed out. He's totally out of it.
I go ahead and use a little bit of my healing magic on him because I can tell he's lost a little bit of blood, and
You sure about that, Doctor?
And I didn't just slice his leg open, and he did have a worm burrowing inside of him. So I use some of my healing magic to at least ride him up a little bit. So whenever he does regain consciousness, he's not gonna have to worry too much about hopefully infection. Hopefully.
I'm just glad he stopped screaming. I mean, God.
My diagnosis is leg hole.
yeah, I am not a doctor.
So you guys deal with this new threat that apparently these guys were totally unprepared for, and over the course of the day, you'll hear stories about how maggots have started coming out of other corpses as well in the cleanup crews. Not everybody was as lucky as this guy. Apparently, they burrow right through to the heart, and then anybody that dies that way rises within a few minutes as a zombie themselves.
Ooh, it's not fun.
But maybe 1 in 5 corpses seem to have these things inside. They're not in all the zombies. And so now that people know how to keep an eye out for them, they just pat a few more people onto the teams, just keep an eye out and start stomping around, and that's it. This guy, however, seems to owe his life to you.
What's his name?
He's passed out.
I asked one of his fellow.
Oh, right.
But you ask his body first.
Yeah. Hey, what's your name, guy?
Oh, that's Peter. Yeah, that's Peter.
I thought you were going to say Paulo.
I know. I thought.
No. Okay. Well,
What's Peter's job?
Well,
What's his
well,
role
we're-
in the village?
while we're learning about maggots and stuff like that and finding out his name, I scribble on some parchment my information and where I can be found in case he does want to become a loyal retainer to our group and help us out further. I stuff it in his pocket. It's like it's a medieval-esque business card. Dr. Murder Cop, MD.
And for your patient information, you just write patient name Peter.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Prescription. Come hang out with us in Barovia. Yeah.
All
Get
right.
you your prescription of excitement and danger.
Well, stepping in and stepping up in a situation like this, this being one of the first groups to be attacked, Irina comes around to check on him and to see what had happened before all these other reports start filtering in of people dealing with maggots as well. So you have an opportunity now before dinner that you could talk to her about things if you wanted to.
Hey, how's things?
What's been going on?
How you doing?
But seriously, how's things in Barovia?
Well, she's pleased to see that you guys made it back from wandering out in the woods because it's not safe out there. Everybody knows that. Not for some time now. But she briefly outlines putting together the militia and trying to get things organized and cleaned up so it's a safe place to live again. And she's really happy to see you guys back because we could always use strong bodies and people who are capable of killing zombies because they haven't flushed all the houses yet. And she just keeps going on in that vein of pulling the town together and getting it back on its feet. But that may or may not be what your focus is. What is it that you guys want to know or do?
Want to take her aside so we can talk about Paulo?
Yeah, and then also just ask if she's had any more, after we take her to the side, ask if she's had any more visits from her quote-unquote suitor. Her unwanted suitor, I guess.
Alright.
So, Irina, would it be at all possible to meet with you privately, maybe not so out in public? We have some questions and some information we'd like to share with you.
All right, that's doable. So you guys walk through the center of town and you get a private room at the Blood and Vine. And she has this room set aside as kind of a headquarters where she runs the town militia out of. And this way she can also keep an eye on their drinking activities to keep them from overindulging and keep them fit for service. Indulge, but not too much. She's keeping everybody in moderation, especially in hard times like this. It's too easy to become dependent or wanting to drown yourself in alcohol. Or gambling. That sort of thing.
Or gamble while you drown yourself in alcohol.
Or gamble by drowning yourself in alcohol.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you think this shot will kill me? No. So should we tell her about the demon being summoned, or do you think that she's got enough? And the other people of Barovia have enough on their plates.
I think the demon might be a bit too much. We don't need to cause a panic.
Right. Okay.
Even if panic might be the right response to a demon wandering around, we probably still don't want to go quite that far.
Okay.
It might not be relevant anyway for what she's doing. So
maybe we should at least let her know what happens with the stipulation, or what happened.
We should let her know about the cultists who were doing something on Lasaga Hill, and we should conveniently ignore the fact that they kind of succeeded in doing something on Lasaga Hill.
Warn her to keep an eye out for cultists and cultist activity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I am especially curious if she's been visited again, since that seemed to be a major concern the first time we met up with her. And that's why we got hired as really horrible bodyguards.
Just check up once every 3 days.
Yeah. Hey, is everything cool? All right, you're fine.
Well, we're gonna drink your water and go to sleep.
Yeah, cash that paycheck.
Once she gets you into the office, she turns around and she says, "Okay, you guys have been out there. What the hell was that racket the other night? Do you know? We've never heard anything like that before."
I say we tell her, but just with the stipulation that she doesn't cause a panic.
Yeah,
I mean, she's in charge.
we need to not hide things from some people.
Okay. I mean, I know we're trying to be independent, at least like intelligence-wise, but like at the same time, we do need allies, and she's way more friendly than Ava ever was. So, I mean, we burned down a church for like the town's spiritual leader, and they were very forgiving of that.
Plus,
If you think of it this way, the more afraid she is, the more job security we have as her bodyguards. So
You're way worse than we ever are.
I'm just thinking practically, you know.
Okay, Kenthis is now bad cop.
Yes, he's back up.
Heinrich is now at the moment being good cop. For the moment.
So yeah, I think we should tell her that a beast has been summoned by what we think is a cult of some sort, and we think that the noises last night, according to the Vistani that we talked to, it sounded like that beast had gotten to the castle and was causing havoc in there. So we don't know exactly what was going on, but that's kind of that's what we heard, what we know of it.
And that's why Heinrich looks like he was torn in half.
Heinrich and Raghnar.
And Raghnar.
Yeah.
Well, Heinrich was torn in half twice. First time with the vampire sword guy.
Yeah, I have some really gnarly scars going on right now.
We're total babe magnets with all those.
Yeah.
Her torsos are entirely scar tissue at this point.
Yeah.
Should we ask her about Paulo?
Yes. Let's get some more information on this guy before we start hunting him down.
Which, as an aside,
Alright.
is like the least terrifying name I've ever heard. If you're gonna send an assassin, just
Which
get
means
him in.
he's gonna be like
Speaking
a
of cultists,
let me get this straight. Are you answering her question or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before
in
you
a
start
roundabout
asking-
way, yes, we're telling her about like the cultists and the happenings at Lysaga Hill. Maybe not mention that it was a demon, but maybe some like horrible beast. And
we
then,
won't go into all the nitty-gritty details.
yeah. But
So
definitely,
let me get this straight, she says. These cultists summoned some sort of giant who wandered off, and you think that that's what was going on? It was fighting the master of the castle?
we don't think we're pretty sure. We're pretty positive.
And we weren't really in a position to get any closer, because he kind of almost tore us in half the first time.
So who won?
We do not know. The
Yeah.
Vistani and the Vistani scout group that we were with and us decided that it would be better for us to relay this information of the things that we had seen to the people of Barovia.
I would argue that we won by not being there.
But yeah, by not being murdered, torn in half. So, partial victory.
So
keep an eye
she
out
sits
for
back
cultists.
for a few moments digesting the information, and she agrees with you that until there's something more concrete, this is probably not something that you need to be sharing with the townspeople right now, as they certainly have more than enough to keep them occupied. Their minds need to be right here, especially since their work just got more dangerous.
Have you had any cultist activity in the village?
Or any kind of strange activities, people acting odd in general.
Or any of their names Paulo. Just slowly being less and less.
More and more specific and ominous.
Yeah.
So,
really small.
Since we started the militia the day after you left, we have explicitly been keeping an eye out for people who are coming and going, but one of our night patrols did report that they saw people sneaking out of town, and we just thought it was Vistani. But if it perhaps it could have been some of these cultists you were talking about.
Should we
Do
tell
you
her about
think
Paula?
that the cultists had anything to do with the zombies too?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's too tenuous a connection to say for sure. It's something we would like to follow up. We would like to ask these cultists many, many questions, and we can add that one to the list.
I feel like we should probably tell her about Paulo, because what if he's like in a position where he's getting like spying on her or us?
Yeah, I say absolutely think we should tell her about Paolo.
Have
Yeah.
you met a gentleman named Paulo by chance?
Paulo. Paul. No, not personally, I think, but I mean, there's Paul. You met him, my manservant, but I don't know Apollo.
I freaking knew it was the butler. I was gonna put it in the chat.
I was gonna joke about it, but I was like, no, there's no way in hell.
Well, we have bad news for you then. So, we have
Bring
some.
it to her easy, Heinrich.
So,
He could have killed us all in our sleep.
I asked one of you to go get us like a round of some hard liquor because we're gonna need it. Wait till it gets delivered. We all have our little glasses of whatever, and I say we're gonna need to sit down for this. So we have from a reliable source a assassin that tried to murder us about who the leader of the group of cultists are, and I've got some bad news for you. It's Paul. Yeah. He was always kind of a dick. It makes sense.
And thus we've established that people who are assholes are automatically evil.
Our cultists.
I love that our only witness is currently dead in a bush.
Oh yeah, we forgot about him, didn't we?
The wolves have taken care of him
So-
by now.
The cultist prestige class prerequisite alignment asshole.
That should be a
Chaotic, no, it's not just asshole, it's chaotic asshole.
Yes.
She sits there staring at you in disbelief. But Paul and his family have been servants to the burgomeisters of Barovia for generations. I can't conceive of them being evil. I mean,
We didn't say it was
what
his
does that
family.
mean?
It's just him. Just him. He's enthralled. Or something. I don't know. It means that
That's
we've
all
all
the
been
clubs.
duped. It means that we've all been duped. And we would be remiss in our duties to protect you if we did not bring this information to you. We need to have a word with Paul.
I don't believe you. You're going to have to bring me something more solid before I accuse Paul of anything, or let you accuse him of anything either.
Okay, well, do you mind if we have a conversation with Paul then? A gentleman's conversation.
I'm imagining you like patting your tool belt as you say that.
Yeah, bringing out my scalpel and like, this is my knee breaker. Yeah.
Picking your nails with some horrible hooked dagger or something.
I mean, should we tell how specific have we gotten with our story with the assassin?
Other
I
than
guess
I've just
he probably
mentioned
doesn't
it.
care if, we didn't even kill him, so we didn't do anything wrong.
There was no reason to hold back on that, I don't think.
Should we fill out that story?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. Might as
So
well.
let's
Tell her all about the
let's start
assassin.
from the beginning here. I'm going to tell you all the details, beginning to end. And woke up with a knife to my chest. One of you killed him, or no, not killed him. You smacked him pretty hard. And then
I
I'll omit the torture part.
restrained him.
Yeah. I'll just say we
It
talked
wasn't torture. It was interrogation.
enhanced interrogation.
Again, because that's what you get when you level up. You go from interrogation to
It was a feat.
interrogation plus to enhance. Yeah.
It's a feat. It's a feat chain that I'm on.
You say this in character.
So she listens to the full story about the assassin and what happened to him. I assume you're going to go into that.
Yeah,
I
she
see
should
no
know that
reason not
Madame
to.
Ava is kind of a little bit of a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she shakes her head. Says, "I'm sorry. Now, as graphic as the story is, it doesn't. all it seems to. It seems to me that all you have is some assassin's word in the middle of the night when he's trying to save his own life. That doesn't mean that it's true."
Can we, I'm going to take the powder out of my pack and ask her if she recognizes what this is.
And her hand immediately flies to her face. It's like, "No, I don't. Isn't that dangerous? You should put that away."
You don't recognize what it is, but it's dangerous. That seems like a contradiction.
Well, didn't you tell her, if you told her the whole story, then she would know that the guy tried to eat it and you took it away from him.
Right.
You just tried to poison our bond.
So I now look like a complete schizophrenic. But,
Okay. Well, there's only one way to get to the bottom of this. We have to have a conversation with Paul. We'll try to be as kind as possible, but there's no way around it. We have to.
Wait, let me propose a plan. We bring Paul in here, and we ask him to sample the powder, but we don't tell him what it is. We just tell him it's some magic juice. And if he knows that it's no, we stop him before he does it. But if he knows not to partake, then he'll that'll reveal him. But we'll have to think of a clever way to.
And Irina scowls and says, "But if he doesn't know what not to take it, he's going to take it, and then he'll be poisoned."
We're really good.
I'm inclined to agree with Arena on this one. Interrogation sense.
Well, that's all I got. We could say it's salt, and if you recognize the bag...
Man, we just want to talk to him.
We got this weird stuff. Can you try it?
We found this. Put this on
You
your
don't know what it is. Here, have some.
This discussion is spiraling further and further out of control, and Irina has this look in her eye like she can't believe that she let this group of murder hobos into her home and hired them on as bodyguards, no matter how good or bad they seem to be at the job. And she slams her fist on the table and says, "That is enough. Nobody's talking to Paul. He's a trusted servant of the family and a faithful member of the Barovia, and I will not have you casting any accusations in public or in private unless you have proof,
All right,
something solid."
Okay, you're 100% right. We are really sorry to bother you. Gentlemen, we should leave.
And
Let's go talk to Paul.
he may have been working in what he thought was the best interest of Barovia, summoning this thing that he thinks can take down the master of the castle. So
Now, are you arguing this in front of her, or is this a conversation for not her?
Yeah, I'd say it's in
yeah,
front of me.
I'm trying to say that maybe even if he is, maybe it's okay. Maybe if he is
Maybe he's a justifiably homicidal maniac.
Maybe he was really trying to help the town by they knew that they couldn't take on the master of the castle, so he said, "Oh, I know something that can," and
Well, except for the killing us part.
We'll call it misguided optimism.
She says, "You know what I think? I think that you've had too much time to think about this, and you need something else to occupy yourself until you let this go. As it happens, I have a job for you. You can go help Rawl and his people up at the church, clearing away the last of the burnt timbers and clearing the way to rebuild.
What happened to the church?
We blew it up.
Yeah, I know. Do they know that we blew it up?
Yes.
They do, right? Okay.
She just glares at you with,
I did not
with
say
low
that out of
eyes,
character.
and she points towards the door. Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
Bye. So guys,
Sorry.
bye.
Bye.
After we're outside the Blood and Vine, I'm like, listen, guys, I don't. If you guys need to go there to protect our cover, that's fine. I'm gonna go talk to Paul.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Paul.
I'll go to the church.
You're one to poison Paul. What's wrong with you?
No, I don't want to poison him.
Go work.
I want him to
Get me
tip
trusted.
his hand and then stop him from
You
poisoning
need to go
himself.
clean up the rubble. This is your fault.
I'll go clean rubble.
I will go clean
I'll go
up.
make friends with the villagers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'll go with Heinrich to make sure that just in case Paul is some evil, diabolical mastermind, that he doesn't tear Heinrich open for a third time.
Yeah.
Wait a
You
minute.
guys protect our cover with the
You
people.
all have to make sure that your only healer in the party is actually protected.
Before, I'm not heading towards the rubble. I don't trust these guys. You're gonna go. I don't know. Maybe he deserves to be tortured. He is a kind of a jerk.
Join us. Join us.
I'm at least going to keep up the party's appearances and try and keep us with one ally, and go help do the job that she.
I mean, we can't really torture him though, because that would cause issues.
We
No,
can't
I,
get
I have
caught.
ways of making it not be shown.
Plus, if Paul just disappears.
Wait a minute. Before we do anything, we need to keep in mind that if we don't expose him on our first try, then he will absolutely go to Irene, and we will lose any trust that we did have.
All right. Here.
I'm.
All right, I have an alternative, which doesn't immediately involve kidnapping and torturing Paul. Immediately. Keep in mind that
not right away. We
It's
progress
still-
towards that.
it's still on the table.
Okay.
But
Okay.
all right. So we heard that some people were sneaking away the other night, and it was the night patrol that saw them. Let's go find these people, talk to them, see if maybe they recognized any of these people, where they were at, and maybe we can backtrack from them and actually get somebody who we know is a cultist instead of hoping that Paul is one. Because I think we all really hope Paul is one, so we can do horrible things to him. But so that's an alternative as well. That's something else we can do. That again doesn't involve kidnapping and enhanced interrogating manservant.
All right, that sounds like a solid plan. Anybody else have a comment on that?
I'm gonna if I'm over at the church helping out people, I'm gonna be asking if they've seen anybody suspicious moving around at night.
All right. Well, asking around is going to take some time. So you could probably spend the rest of the afternoon trying to track down people who are working those evening shifts and asking them questions. Because you're certainly not going to get that information from Irina now that she thinks that you guys are jumping at shadows.
You know who I'd bet would be willing to help us if he's awake? What's his name? Peter. If he has any information, he'd probably spill.
Yeah. I
Who's
mean, I
Peter
did save his blood.
He's
the
the
guy
one
whose
who
life I
we-
saved.
Oh, yes, the guy you just saved.
Maggot Man.
The worst superhero. Yeah, I'll go check in on Peter and see if I can get any information from him.
I
If
will
you would,
accompany you just in case.
Okay. And yeah. I'm not gonna torture him, Kenthis. I don't need to. I saved him. Why would I do that?
I don't know. I don't know how your mind works.
All right.
I
So,
don't think any of us should go alone, so I will go with Ember, just in case. Because if there are cultists in town, there's a good chance that they saw us and recognized us. So
All right.
let's
So
we
so
understand.
Ragnar's with Ember looking for people who may have seen things happen while they're on patrol, and Heinrich is with Kenthis, and they're going to talk to Peter.
Yep.
Okay. So whom do we want to resolve first?
I say Heinrich and Kenthis. They seem to have a better lead.
All right. I agree. So, Heinrich and Kenthis go and catch up with Peter. They ask around the cruise, and they get directed towards where Peter is currently staying. And he's got family there with him, and they're tending after him. And they thank you profusely for, saving him. He's probably going to have trouble walking for a while. That sort of injury is not something that you get over, and he's probably done working the cleanup crews because, oh my God, who wants to go back and face that again? But they're very, very grateful, and if there's anything that we can do,
Yes, actually there is, my friend. I have a few questions for you. Have you seen any other than the dead walking? And I chuckle like a forced chuckle, like ha ha. Have you
Hilarious.
have you seen any strange happenings, comings and goings? People acting perhaps suspiciously
Especially
in
Paul.
town. No, you did not say that. In the past
No,
few
I
days.
don't say that. All right.
Peter's wife looks at you strangely, as if to say, "You've got to be kidding me," and she immediately launches to the first thing that comes to mind, which is the ruckus from the other night that
Oh yes, we
everybody
know all
heard.
about that. Yeah.
Oh, you do? What was it?
Lightning? Fireworks? I have no idea.
It was a party.
So, thinking about it, most of she's stayed at the house. She's kept the kids indoors. They only go outside when they absolutely have to, and so she hasn't seen much of anything. But she happens to know personally the wife of one of the men. The husband of one of the women who runs one of those overnight watch groups. And I bet that if you talk to Jocelyn, then she can tell you about anything that may have happened on her overnight watch. But she's not going to be up again until around dinner time because she was just up all night.
All right. Before we leave this room, now hear me out here. I know it seems like I have a fixation on the poison.
We're
But-
not poisoning him. We're not
No,
doing
we're not.
any of that.
We are not poisoning him. I agree. But what if we just say we would just want to do a quick checkup on his leg? We produce the pouch, don't actually apply it, but make sure they get a good look at it.
What if
And
we don't do that?
And if
Because it doesn't go without saying, he has to tell you we're not going to apply it.
Yeah.
if they flinch, then we know they're not good.
I think they're okay. I saved this man's life. My Inquisitor sense isn't going off. I feel pretty good about this.
I'm surprised that you're not as paranoid as I am, and I'm a little disappointed. I will keep the powder for later use.
You want me to be poison crazy? You want to go? Yeah, me and Kenthis are just going around town poisoning people. That may be cool.
We can get rid of it if you want. Just throw it down the well.
No, hold on to it. It may be useful. And kids may pick it up if we just throw
Throw
it away.
it down the well. Throw it only for some water.
Yeah, I'm aware that that's a bad idea.
All right,
That was a
just
joke.
making a good run for a murderous cop.
Excellent.
I was only joking about replacing you before, but now, man, I don't know. I think I liked it better when you didn't fit in with the other three guys.
See, but the difference is I'm not hurting
We've
anyone.
corrupted him.
You're not hurting anybody. You're just murdering an entire town. But yeah, nobody's getting hurt though. It's a really peaceful poison.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So you guys got a couple of hours before you can finish up this particular line of questioning, and there's not a heck of a lot to do in between except to go back over to Kenthis and Ember and Ragnar, who are already talking to people who are on day shift. And whom were you asking about now? Were you asking about odd occurrences, or were you asking about specific people? I forget.
Specifically
just-
Paul.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I was going to say we were going to ask about people sneaking out at night and other odd occurrences like that. Nothing
Yep.
else.
Yep.
Because we don't have any other specific people aside from Paul. Yes. But
Yeah, we
let's
shouldn't mention him by name.
let's broaden our scope just a little bit, just in case he's not Paul.
All
Just in
right.
case.
I'm willing to bet all of my money that it is, but
If Paul and if you're right and that it's Paul, I will let you swing your stick at him first.
that's a bad idea. That's gonna lead to a real pickle.
Well, no, I know that's why you're going to do it.
No, I'll wait. I don't need to take him out yet.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you for some sort of charisma-based roll to get over this particular hump, because most of the people that you would need to speak with are probably asleep. But even if they're not, it's not necessarily a check to persuade people to tell you, just to see if you're lucky enough to stumble across anything useful. I guess is what I'm looking for.
All right,
And don't forget that I offended everyone first day.
Well, that's
Well,
why
that's
you're
why
not.
you're not with them.
You're
Thanks.
busy
Oh, yeah.
elsewhere
Yeah,
trying
we're
to
good.
decide to poison everybody.
Ragnar wasn't even with us, so he's got a clean slate.
All right, I'm gonna roll captain of the mercenary company because that's kind of the picking up the little details kind of thing. So that's okay. 21.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 21.
Well, if you listen to Grandma tell it, that good-for-nothing layabout who married her daughter, Saul, came in late last night.
All right, so that's a start.
How many more names can I come up with that sound like Paul? It's like that thing that once you see it everywhere.
Yes.
All right, so we'll thank her for the information, and we'll go and actually we'll ask if where Saul might be at. So that's not pronounced the same way. That's pronounced Raul. Anyway, we'll ask her where Saul would be at, and we'll go have a chat with him.
Alright. Better call Saul.
Well, Saul would be home right about now, because he's supposed to be working evenings, but who knows what he actually does.
All right, so
I can't. The old grandmother scowls. Says, I've never seen him do a lick of work since he married my daughter.
again,
I don't know nobody else who has done either.
we'll make her single again, ma'am.
That might be a bit intense.
And
Whoa.
she just gets this look on her face like, what did you say? And then you're walking away.
We'll make him useless as a man.
Oh God.
I think what he means, ma'am, is that we'll make him be more useful around the house.
Is that what I mean?
Zombie.
Yes, yes, that's what I mean. Absolutely.
That covers it, sort of.
All right. So, nobody else is in the house where Saul is. You bang on the door. Nobody's answering.
I kick in the door and say, "Here's Johnny."
All right. You kick in the door, and you see from a cot in the corner, from what is probably a pile of clothes, just jumps up, and there's a man who could be in his 30s who looks at you wild-eyed, and he sees you in your adventuring gear. You don't even have anything drawn, but he sees you in your adventuring gear, and you just kick down his door. He gets this wild look in his eye, and he starts herring off towards the back door.
It's like a SWAT team.
It's like you're raiding like a meth house.
Yeah.
He's coming right for us. All right, I'm gonna.
I'll since I haven't entered yet, I'll go around. I'll try and go around the back to cut him off.
Wait, guys, before we make a complete enemy out of him, let's keep in mind you did just burst into his house. You literally broke in.
We're not here to make friends.
Okay.
Also,
Alright,
this may not actually be his house. It seems to you that they cleared away the buildings closest to the center of town first. So a lot of people that, while they may actually own houses elsewhere in town, have moved into these first buildings that have cleared temporarily while they wait for their house to be cleared and made into a safe neighborhood themselves. So you could have just busted down some random person's door just because Saul happens to be bunking there right now.
better kill their dog, too.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
What? What is wrong with you?
No, I'm not saying for real. It's a reference to recent news events.
Just gone from the good cop at the start of this session to the worst of all of us. And that's saying something, considering I just kicked in some dude's door.
No, I don't act on any of the urges.
I think it has something to do with his new job moving yogurt. I mean, what is that job even?
I've been doing that for a while. It's not new. It's moving yogurt.
It sounds like a euphemism, and I don't want to know what...
No, it's literally just moving a pallet from an incubator to a cooler. It's nothing suspicious.
Anyway,
Lots of sugar in there. I'll admit
I'm
that.
going to run him down. At the very least, Ember's are on the other side, so even if I don't tackle him...
Between you and Ember, this guy doesn't stand a chance. He doesn't have a lifetime of training in combat reflexes. There's no way he's going to avoid you.
Plus, he was kind of asleep when we kicked in the door, so,
Yeah.
Or at least laying down.
Mm-hmm. So catching him, no problem. Ember holds him fast while you get to ask questions.
Do I actually want... No, I guess I should ask questions instead of just starting The violence level is just ratcheting up.
What did you break into his house for if you weren't going to ask questions?
I was
You've
just gonna
never got to be Inquisitor before. This is your first time.
So, I'll start with the obvious one. Are you Saul?
Yeah, I'm Saul.
So, we caught him, Ember. You're holding him. So we understand you were making some unusual late-night excursions the other night, and we had some questions about that.
And he looks at you like, what? I didn't do anything.
There was a bit of a disturbance the other night on Lasaga Hill, and we were wondering if any of you or any of your friends were involved. So, I would like... to be fair, they said it didn't have to be smart, just had to have bodies. So that's not a problem in and of itself.
Oh, okay. You're reading the notes there. I see.
I'm reading the notes on the side. I'm addressing that. I shouldn't probably address it out loud, but I'm going to anyway.
No, that's fine. It's okay for other people to participate in your scene, as long as they're not questioning directly.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't intend to.
I was addressing that on a meta level, not on a
exactly.
Take poison level. So what were you doing the other night, Saul?
I was with my buddies gambling.
Uh-huh. And where were you gambling at?
and he gives you directions to a house on the edge of town. It's definitely not in the safe zone.
So why were you out where all the zombies are to gamble, Saul?
Oh no, the building's safe. My buddies and I cleaned it out days ago. Or rather, I should say, no, we didn't take anything. I mean, the house was already empty, and the lock on it was good, so we just locked it up to keep the zombies out.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe you, Saul. There's something about you, something about your face that just makes me want to hit things. And I think you should diffuse that by telling me the truth.
Hey, I swear I told Miguel I would have the money for him, and I will. I just need a little bit more time. The economy right now, man, it's crazy.
His one village economy.
I'm like, Ember, you want to have a go?
Well, I'm just wondering what Arena might think of this illegal gambling den going on in her city, especially in houses that, may not be safe, or you might be endangering others, or even worse, endangering groups of other villagers that may have to come and save your butts if something should go wrong, because it's not safe. It's not safe to be outside of the city, and even for gambling, there's plenty of places to gamble, and I'm sure the Blood and Vine, I'm sure you could get a good gambling game going on there, and I'm not sure why you have to hide it. Why is that, Saul?
Because there's not a lot of space here in the safe part of town. We would get found out pretty quick, and my wife, I don't know if you've met her mother, but her grandma is a ball buster.
Yeah, she asked us to take care of you, so...
And he turns white. The look on it, and he looks at your sword, and he looks at you, and he starts to struggle a little bit against Timber's grip.
Oh no! Don't run, Saul. You'll just die tired.
We could forget that you were involved in this whole thing if you tell some of the other people that went up to Lysaga Hill with you.
Lysaga Hill? Who goes there? That place is supposed to be haunted.
Well, to be
haven't you
fair,
heard the
it was
stories?
haunted, but some of your buddies here in town made the trip anyway, and we wanted.
Man, this guy's gonna go blabbing.
Oh no, he's not.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Well,
Saul is going to be the best husband ever after we're done, because he's going to be afraid.
So, say if we do believe you for now that you were just gambling, did you happen to see anybody else, going in and out of town, not really being where they should be?
Think really hard, Saul. Really hard.
So, Saul thinks about it, and he says, well, the other night, we had to douse the lamps real quick because we thought we heard somebody outside. Then we decided that maybe it was just another zombie, but I don't think it was, because I could have sworn that I actually heard a voice speaking.
And what did this voice say, Saul?
I don't know. I took a mad dash for the lantern, and I was stepping right quick, wasn't I?
Huh. Likely story.
Hey, if nothing else, this might give you a direction as to where they're coming in and out of town, or at least on that night.
Yeah, So where is this? Is this gambling hunt of yours?
Okay, so it's at the. Remember when you guys came into town? You had that really long. Remember how? Let me just get the map here because the town is. I don't want to say quartered, but it's got a road that runs from the. I'm going to say the east. It's the road you came into Barovia on, and it goes through the majority of the town before it hits the center. And there, after it goes past the center, it curves to the south and exits towards the river. And there's another one that crosses town. Here we go. Alright. So I'm going to hold this up for a second. And pardon the poor lighting. So, where's my finger? Not this side, but the other side of town. The road that comes in near E1.
Okay.
Alright. So if you go all the way to the edge of town, where it's going to be the last building on the left. And they were playing up on the second floor. Because apparently zombies have trouble with stairs.
Okay, well maybe we need to make sure that this structure is safe for you guys in case you need to go back there. You aren't planning on having a game there tonight, are you?
No. The next game is going to be in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, I think.
Okay, well, I don't know, Raghnar. You think we should maybe go tonight, make sure it's safe there, make sure there's no zombies hanging around, and in case these gentlemen do have a nice game of whatever going, then maybe we'll check it out for them, make sure it's safe.
I think that's a good idea, and we can, just make sure his story adds up, and, if it doesn't, we can come back.
Yeah, maybe join in that game.
Yeah. You'll vouch for us, won't you, Saul?
It's just like, look, man, obviously Miguel didn't send you like I thought he did. And since I'm doing you a solid and I'm helping you out and I'm answering all your questions, you think you sneak me some money so I can get Miguel off my back? I can't show up there without something.
No, I don't think so, Saul. You should probably be aware that we're far more dangerous to your health than this Miguel ever was. So I wouldn't advise screwing us over. Now, let's go back to what we were just talking about. You'll vouch for us, won't you, Saul?
And he just kind of cries a little bit. You got him dead to rights, and he knows it.
But
He's
tell you
used
what,
to being in that position.
I give him credit for trying to weasel some money out of us.
Well, I was just gonna say, if he does see things and can prove it, maybe we can see our way to toss him a few coins.
He could be a paid criminal informant.
Exactly.
All right.
As long as we can call him Huggy Bear.
I think you guys are pretty much finished with Saul.
Yeah.
All right.
I think so,
you broke him.
Ember and Kenthis,
Only
the woman
mentally.
that you were going to follow up with tonight was Saul's wife.
I'm not involved with his wife. You're talking about Raghnar, right?
You did what with his wife?
No. You guys were going to follow up with the woman who runs one of the evening crews.
Yeah, Jocelyn. Heinrich.
Right.
Kenthis, yeah.
Right. Her husband is Saul.
Oh, okay.
I had his name in mind already, and then when when Aaron made his good roll, I said, okay, I'm just going to tie this together.
I see.
Save
Okay.
some time. And I think because we've gone just under 2 hours that we're going to call that for tonight. Because then that will bring us back to you're going to have a full day. You're going to have the evening tonight where there's nothing going on. So if you want to follow up with Paul anyway, that's up to you. And then you'll have the next day which will end with you guys trying to get your way into that gambling situation so you can see what's going on there and maybe be in position if somebody else is sneaking in or out of town through that way.
Yeah, the game is kind of secondary. As long as we can get into the house and hang out and wait for anybody who might be coming by, that's the important thing.
Okay.
On the other hand, it's really fun to browbeat Saul, so, you know.
All right. So you guys, I think we know pretty much what we're doing next session, which is nice. Make it a little objective-based, and that is it for tonight. Let's stop the
Good fun.
broadcast.